There have been complaints about the number of forms that people have to fill in to become an NHS vaccinator and the amount of bureaucracy involved for people who just want to help. I want to introduce you to Andy Bates, a dentist who offered to help administer the vaccine. He joins us now from North Yorkshire. Andy, great to have you on the programme this morning and in scrubs, ready to get to work as well. Just tell us a little bit about your experience of the process to be involved in this vaccination campaign. From what I hear, it wasn't entirely positive.
Hello, Neil. Yes, that's correct. I'm a working general dental practitioner. I work 4 days a week. I have a day off. And I just felt that with the day off and possibly a day a week at weekends, I could use the skills that I have as a dentist in terms of calming people, explaining things to people, and a bit of a skill with needles as well, in order to help provide the vaccine. Initially, it took me a little while to actually find somewhere to apply, but I was pointed in the direction of the NHS website, which had the job advertised as an NHS vaccinator. I applied, a couple of my dental nurses applied, and one of my hygienists tried applying as well. After the initial form and an email back, it just then, we were sent back forms with reams of certificates that we needed and had to upload and had to send off to them, all of which I've since learned seem to come from a standard hospital training and recruitment form, which, although being a registered dental practitioner, we have all these things, safeguarding training, medical emergency training, anaphylaxis, all these sorts of things we have. It's not quite in the same format as the hospital training and CPD requirements, which will just make it an enormous task to go through all our files, to search out all the staff certificates and lay them all out, scan them all in, upload them all. It just becomes such a huge job for what is essentially a very specific task. Many of the items on the list just didn't seem to be relevant as well to being in a vaccination clinic, vaccinating people.
Sure, as you say, for someone in your position, you know, you're filling in all these forms for what appears to be a very simple task, but it's also a very simple task with quite a lot of potential legal outcomes. Is there not a case, perhaps, for understanding why there might be a little bit of an OTT number of hoops that you need to jump through to be able to do this, given, you know, ultimately you're going to be sticking a needle in people's arms?
Oh, yes, no, I would quite agree with that. Yes, I would. But the fact that I'm a General Dental Council registered professional, my practice is registered with the CQC, it means that all these things I've declared and been inspected on fairly regularly anyway. So really, just providing my GDC number and possibly the CQC registration number for the practice, which, you know, and myself and my staff should easily go on to the next level. The next level could easily be some online or practical training in administering a vaccine, specific things to look out for with the AstraZeneca or the Oxford virus, you know, just things very specific to the vaccine. But, excellent identity checks to make sure people are what they say they are. Checks are on the register to make sure that whoever's applying hasn't got any stains or blemishes on their record. And then you should be on to the next stage, not having to actually upload every single piece of evidence that's already been inspected anyway.
Andy, we are just about to run out of time, so kind of a yes, no, almost. I mean, has this been enough to put you off being part of the vaccination programme entirely?
Yes, for the time being it has, but since all this has broken, I have been introduced to other methods of getting onto the vaccination programme, which on the basis seem to be a little simpler. My local GP practice has been in touch with me and said that they could put me through their programme for doing it. But it's putting off an awful lot of newly retired professionals wanting to come back. They've just had a look at it, seen the bureaucracy. In many cases, it was NHS bureaucracy that helped make them make the decision to retire anyway, and they just don't want to come back. It's losing a lot of goodwill amongst people who could be a real help to this push.
Well, Andy, I just want to Andy, it's been great to have you on the programme this morning. We do hope that you and many of your colleagues do get to sign up and be part of this process, because we need it right now. Andy Bates, good to see you this morning. Time for us to have a check-in on the weather. Joe has all the